Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have this 2023 Volkswagen Tiguan, and we're going to do a front grille chrome delete installation for this vehicle. So as you can see, this is how it looks before the installation. It's just a regular front grille chrome panel, and this is how it looks after the installation. So we use the gloss black material, that way it changes the appearance of the front grille. If you like the product, the link for the product will be in the description below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. So before starting with the installation, we need to make sure we prep the panel. So what you can do before doing the installation is wash the vehicle. That would be the #1 option to go with in order to have a clean area to work with. But if you can't wash your vehicle, then we recommend using any products that you're able to use to clean off the panel, but make sure it's safe to use on your vehicle. And you could also use slip solution, which just includes baby shampoo with water mixed together. And just as long as the whole panel is clean and dry afterwards, you should be good to go with the installation. So just make sure you prep it before you start with the installation. And like I said, make sure the whole area is dry afterwards, because if the panel is still wet, the water will affect the adhesive on the film and it's not going to stick afterwards. So you need the panel to be dry. So when it comes to installing the front grille piece, we're going to start by installing the top piece. So with this one, just align it from one end. Make sure you're covering the chrome on the edge, and you can use the top trim with the chrome here as the guide in order to align the film to the panel here. So just make sure when you're aligning it, you're covering the chrome from the top. And if you need to lift and readjust, you can. Just make sure to lift carefully. You don't want to accidentally tear the film. And it should look like this. And just double check and see if you're covering all of the chrome before we continue with the rest of the installation. So once you finish placing the film, you can start using your squeegee and tacking down the whole panel. So first work on the flat surface, that way we're able to secure the film. And once we're done securing the middle section here, then we can start tacking down the film. So I recommend starting from the middle and working your way to one side and then to the other. So just help tack down the film, make sure there's no air behind the film, and just like that. And you just do the same for this side. Make sure there's no air in the middle section, and then just tack it down. So wherever you started, so let's say you started over there like we did, on the other side you're gonna have excess material. That excess material, just remove it. Just make sure you give yourself enough material to cover the chrome. Remove the piece, and then just tuck it inside. And it should be like that. And then make sure everything is covered. If you still have any excess material, then you can remove it. But if everything is good to go, then we can move on with the next installation, which would be these two pieces here. Okay, so now we move on to this middle section here. So for this piece, we're going to start by aligning it on this side first, making our way to this edge and just removing any excess material. Or you could do it from this end, it doesn't really matter, just as long as wherever you start on the other side, just make sure to trim off the excess material. So let's say we start here, place the film and start on this edge. Make sure you're covering all of the chrome, and then lift the film and just follow along the panel and make sure you're covering the whole film. And if you need to lift the film to adjust it, you can. Just be careful, and it should look like this. And now just grab your squeegee and start tacking down this whole top piece. And once you finish tacking on the top piece, move on with this middle section. Remove all the air bubbles. And then we would just move on with the middle section. So just tack down the film. Lift it carefully if you need to adjust it, and just tack it down. And now we will just trim off any excess material. So trim off excess material here and on that end. And once you're done, we just finish sealing the film. So just be careful when you're trimming it off. And you just do the same on this side. Find the gap and trim off the excess material. And now just apply heat all around the edges, just to ensure wherever we trimmed off the film stays tacked down and it doesn't lift. So start by applying heat. Now we move on to this lower middle section here. Okay, so with this one, start from either end. So let's start from here first. Place the film down and just make sure you're covering the whole panel here. So it should cover the chrome, and then carefully lift the film and just start aligning it and tacking it down. So just take your time, lift it carefully to adjust it. This part right here, take your time, tuck it inside, that way it covers here. And when it comes to squeegeeing here on this curve, I recommend squeegeeing like this at an angle. That way we don't accidentally crease the film. And also what we can do, just to help the film tack down better, is apply heat. Lift it carefully wherever the fingers were located. If you do have fingers, hold it in position and apply heat. That way we're able to tack down the film. And only apply a little bit, that way the film is more flexible to work with, and then little by little start working on installing the piece. And just finish off here. And it should look like this. And then just finish tacking down the rest of the film. Make sure everything is aligned. If you need to adjust, you can. And then just continue with the bottom, apply heat, and then we'll squeegee it around the curve here. You can use your finger to help this section. Just work your way with each side. Okay, and then just trim off any extra material that we do have. And once we're done, we move on to the last piece here. So when it comes to the last piece, you can start from either side. Just make sure wherever you start, you trim off the excess material on the other end. So just apply the film, lay it down, and then just work your way to the other side. So you can place it and little by little start working to the other edge. And just use the top half of the panel where the chrome is as the guide in order to align it. Lift the film carefully. And just make your way to this other side. If the film is lifting, place it down carefully. You don't want to crease it. Grab your squeegee and start tacking down the film. And then just work your way on the bottom, tack down the film. Okay, and now that we finished tacking down the whole film, now we need to trim off this excess material. So with this one, you do have a small gap here where the grille and the bumper meet. That small gap, that's where you will trim off the excess material. So just be careful. If you want, you could take your time trimming off this part just to avoid scratching the paint. But just make sure you take your time when trimming off the excess material. So as you can see, if we trim right in the center, you're covering the chrome still and you don't accidentally scratch the paint. So just take your time, find the gap, and just trim off the material. Take it easy on the curve and you should be good to go. And if you have excess material on the top section here too, just do the same. Find the small gap and trim off the excess material. And now the last thing would be to add heat just to help tack down the film wherever we trimmed it off. And then once we're done adding heat on this one, you would just do the same steps for this section to the other end. It's just the same thing. And once you're done installing the whole thing, you would post heat the whole film. So once you finish installing the whole film, now we can move on to post heating. So just make sure to post heat all around the area, making sure we secure the edges. And then once you're done post heating, we will be done with installation. Okay, so that concludes the installation video for the front grille chrome delete for the 2023 Volkswagen Tiguan. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. If it did, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming installation videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.